No, like you guys before. Did you pick like 8, 9? What'd you guys say?
I said 9.
8 to 10. Oh, you just went with the shotgun approach. Yeah. Like dove hunting, huh? You just. So out of everybody that watched it with us, we had only one guy pick it all correct. Our analytics guy. Yeah. He's going to be with the Padres next year, so he's good. All right, fire away.
Scott, playing Syracuse, a traditional basketball power. I mean, is that exciting? Or how
Well, definitely. Anytime you're playing this time of year, you're excited. Number one. Number two, whenever you play a team that they have a Hall of Fame coach and a national brand, you don't have to worry about exciting your guys or telling them how good they are. So it makes it really easy. Now you can just focus on the X and O's part of things.
Well, X and O wise, they run a zone. They're famous for the zone. You guys do that too. Does that make it easier as a coaching staff to install what you're going to do because they do something similar to what you do?
Well, we probably don't have the element of surprise of them not practicing against a zone, so or playing much against it. But when we played them in the Maui Invitational Championship a few years ago, we'll probably look at some of that film and try to analyze things. But I know. In basketball, everybody's always trying to get the ball inside, and then from there, kick out or make plays. So both of us definitely won't have to have the element of surprise with facing a zone or anything like that, or what the other team's going to try to do.
Scott, what about just getting in with this team, where they've come from, where they were expected, or what they were expected to do this year?
As a coach, you always think you can win every game. And you have a game plan to win every game. But anytime you're picked ninth, and then when conference began, most people, when they repicked, we were 10th. So, and with only 3 lettermen in the Power 5 conference returning, I know I've said that numerous times, but to end as a 4 seed, and even in the Big 12 tournament, we asked everybody after the game who's played in the Big 12 tournament before, and there were only 2 hands that went up. And normally you want to have more experience, and normally you have to have more experience to be successful. The great thing for us is the Big 12 tournament really will help prepare us now for the NCAA tournament because it's run the exact same way. So I think our guys can know what's coming and be much more prepared for it.
Kind of piggybacking off of his question, but focusing more on just the ups and downs and the rebuilding of this team for it to finally, Baylor to flash up there and to be in the tournament. What does that mean for this team?
Well, I think it means they really maximized the ability as far as playing for one another and together, and really bought into serving one another and caring more about the team than themselves. Because individually, talent-wise, people had us pick 9th or 10th for a reason. So really think the guys competed hard, and that was when you look at over the course of the season as a whole, one thing we usually did was compete. And that's as a coach, you always can hang your hat and go to bed at night knowing as long as the guys played hard, that's half the battle. And I know seeing their excitement and joy of being able to know that they're playing in March, that's what all that hard work is for. And now they have a chance to be a part of the best spectacle of sports.
What's the biggest emotion, making the tournament or missing the tournament?
Well, last year being one of the first 4 out, I can tell you wasn't very much fun. So, and even though you think you're in it until your name actually goes up. Remember the first year we ever got in it, we were the last team selected, and we had that big pairing party in the Farrell Center. And for the first time, when you get down to about 3 or 4 picks, you're looking around, what am I going to tell these people? We might not get in. And then the excitement of getting in. And today, like being in the last bracket, they didn't forget about us, right? So it's great that you know where you're going, who you're playing, and most of all, to see the excitement of the guys' faces and know that all their hard work was worth it to achieve a goal like this. And our fans have been outstanding all year long, win or lose. I think they've really appreciated the guys' effort, and that as a coach, I really appreciate that because that's hard to do, play hard all the time. If every team did it, there'd be a lot more successful teams.
On Thursday, you were really happy about Mackay and the way he was able to play, even though he did cool off towards the end of the game. Today he's wearing a boot that's precautionary. And
Oh, yeah, that's his second shoe.
Okay.
So he's been wearing that thing all. He wears the boot more than he wears the shoe. So he puts the shoe on for games. Otherwise, it's the boot. It's a Nike boot, by the way. So we're good. But the good thing for us is going in this tournament, we know he's playing, and that really helps us with preparation. From the standpoint, it's hard going into a game. It's kind of like not knowing which quarterback's, if he's going to play or not, and then you're kind of coming up with two game plans. So the fact that we know what we have going into it makes this a lot more easy for our coaching staff and team to know what kind of roles they're looking at and substitutions, because that's one of the toughest things is one game you start and play 30 and the next game you don't play at all. And, I mean, that's not easy.
Is he playing because he's healed or because he's?
Because he's playing. Yeah, he for him to get healed, it's something that would probably take 4 to 6 weeks. So there is no, I mean, we don't have that till after the season. So the good thing is all along he knew once we got to this point in the season, he was all in.
What are some things you guys are going to maybe have to do better? You're on a 4-game losing streak. What's got to change?
Well, I think first of all, you look at it, part of it's a schedule. You played at K-State, you played at Kansas. We lost at senior night here, and that one you should have won. You're just looking at things, but that's the Big 12. You don't win every time. And then Iowa State, I mean, I think all year long we all knew that was one team when they were hot. It was really good, and unfortunately they were hot for 3 games. So I don't necessarily think we've been playing terrible. I think in each game there's been areas where we didn't do enough to win, and but there's no sense of, man, we're struggling or we're falling apart. I think there's more urgency because none of us want to be one game and out, and none of us want to end the season on a losing streak. But I don't think there's a panic or anything like that. X and O's wise, we got to defend better, and that's really after our 6-game win streak, we've tapered off defensively, and that's an area we got to shore up. The next thing is when that's shored up, that'll allow us to get in transition more, which will allow our offense to be better, because in the half court, by the time you play everybody twice, everybody knows what you're going to do, and those easy buckets are really important. That's why the tournament's always a breath of fresh air, because now you're not coming down the court where they're calling out your plays for you.
Did you sense that you had the 6-game winning streak and you got to that 10th conference win? I know you played those teams that you beat. Was there any sort of taking a deep breath that they felt like, since they were pretty much locked in, you lost an edge?
Well, I think some of that probably factored into Mackay being able to play, not play. If we needed more work to do, he probably would have played more, and that allowed his foot to at least keep it from getting worse. So that did come into play. I'm sure some of it, especially when you're competing to win a championship, and once you can't win a conference championship or your seed's established, you, of course, naturally you lose some motivation.
With having only two guys with the NCAA tournament experience, what do you the other guys to make sure that they're fully prepared?
Well, the great thing is the Big 12 tournament is like the NCAA tournament, so that will really help. And other than that, I mean, we can't ask for much more experience. So, in my opinion, everyone's experienced it. We're good.
At one point, when you pulled Mackay aside and say, "Whatever you did against us, can you please do against Syracuse?"
Well, the great thing is I won't have to, because Mackay, the bigger the game, the better he plays. And I know he'll be more than excited to play, and it'll be great to have him. So. I'll let you in on a little secret. After we lost to Yale, John Underwood, who was in charge of the Big 12, had given me in the summertime a Yale golf ball he found on the golf course and said, "You just keep this to remember." And I've been saving it all year for the NCAA tournament to give it back to Mackay. So anyway, I'm going to give him a present tomorrow when I see him, and hopefully we can have some great memories together.
Scott, we talked about knowing that Mackay is going to play. Does it help too knowing that King is just that much farther along his?
Well, that's another thing. I think you look at it, we win 6 games, and then Mackay gets injured in practice. King gets injured in the game, and that was a 1-2 punch. And King's been back, but I think everyone realizes he hasn't been back like he was in that 6 games when he was moving really well and playing with confidence and in rhythm. So each game, each practice, each day since he's been back gives him a better chance to get back to being where he was at. And that, again, that injury, it's an injury where you're back, but are you really back physically and mentally? And it just takes a little time.
Do you feel, as you've gotten into this career of yours, coaching in a tournament game, not a Big 12 tournament game, an NCAA tournament game, have you changed, or was it different when you first started? Is it something that changes who you are? Does it make you coach differently?
No, I think great question. I think the more you do something, the more you get a rhythm and a routine. And with each year, you have different routines with your team, different adjustments. Some teams you adjust more because they're more experienced and can adjust more. Others you try to taper things down. So I think we'll stay true to what we've done that's worked with this team, and then you take that with your opponent. And I think some advantages are people that haven't faced much zone or don't play zone. I think you look at that and you can say, hey, the zone's going to be really effective against them. Someone like Syracuse, we've been playing man and zone, and it's equally and whichever's defense works better, we'll play more of. But also, I think every day we're practicing in practice against a zone, so at least we should be more ready to play their zone than a team that never, if we didn't play zone every day ourselves.
How have you seen Jared develop? He's obviously been in a lot of pressure situations as a freshman.
Well, I think with freshmen in general, why they're freshmen is consistency. They'll have great moments, and then they'll be freshmen. And I think Jared is really, especially with Makai missing games, has had to step up and take on a bigger role. And because of that, I think it's put him in a much better position to be successful. And coming from a program that played elite talent and is used to winning and used to being coached, it's made it easier for his adjustment.
Coach, asking you to reflect a little bit. Correct my math if I'm wrong. This is the 8th time that you guys have been selected since you've been here?
David Kay?
Yes. From where the program was at when you walk in the door on day 1 to today, half of the years you've been here, getting into the NCAA tournament, what has the journey been like since you walked through the door?
Well, I think each and every year is different, and there's always ups and downs, just like parenting. I mean, no matter if they're age 7, 8, 9, 10, there's different challenges each and every day and each and every year. And I think at the end of the season, hopefully you have this feeling of you're going to postseason. And now you don't want it to end, and you want to play and advance and have a chance to do something really memorable. But I think each time you get rewarded with an NCAA tournament berth, I mean, the first time you get in, you're just overly enthused and excited to be there. After that, each and every year, you want to advance and you want to win and you want to stay in it because you realize how fun it is.
Is it interesting to you how many connections that y'all have out in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, so I'm sure the Lindsay family will have more than a couple phone calls from Baylor people making the trek up there. And then Royce has already FaceTimed the staff, and I'm sure him and Epe are really excited.